Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Joseph Pith and this is the Pith Take. Now brace yourself, the English countryside is not racist. I've seen a few people covering a recent article from the Telegraph, which I did read, and it cites a study, a report from a university. And to be clear, that the report doesn't claim that the English countryside is racist. It's kind of framed around the perception that rural communities need to be more inclusive. And there's been, over the past sort of 5 or 6 years, there's been several articles around a similar theme, and I've posted links to just a few of those, the ones I've shown the headlines for. They're the kind of stories that, for me at least, kind of provoke a bit of a visceral reaction. It's kind of a bit, and I think partly the reason for that is it just feels like someone desperately trying to shoehorn an agenda into any and every place they possibly can, and they're kind of built around this idea that the English countryside is very white, and shocker, it is. But the fact of the matter is that it's just demographics. England is still 82% white, and then if you consider that, I'm pretty sure it's 90% of farmland in England is family owned. And those farms have been, on average, I think they've been in families for 100+ years, in many cases for much longer, for generations. And then alongside that you've got families who have worked in agriculture for generations, not necessarily the families who own the farms, but other rural families. So with farming being such a big part of the rural economy, and a sector that has essentially remained like a family affair for hundreds of years, it's not really surprising that it's very white in a majority white country. I think the figures for rural communities, it's like 95-96% white, which obviously is higher than the average in England, but for reasons we've just gone through. And when it comes to the reported discomfort that minorities have when they're experiencing the countryside, personally, I'm not sure I buy it. I think you're doing people a disservice. I think are minority groups visiting the countryside and kind of looking around wondering, I don't see a synagogue, and where's the halal butchers? I'm almost like annoyed on other people's behalf over the thought of that. I could be very wrong. Please comment if I am. I just struggle with the idea that minorities are visiting the English countryside and looking around thinking, oh dear, it's terribly English. I probably should have mentioned at the very top of this video, I do actually, well, I was going to say I live in the countryside. I suppose I do. I live in a rural village So yeah, I suppose I do live in the English countryside. I have and do also spend a lot of time in farming communities in rural East Africa. And you know what has never really surprised me, and certainly never distressed me about the African countryside, and that's that it's very black. Probably 99.9% black. And you know what else I've never thought about the African countryside is, I've never stood there thinking, oh, well, where are the fish and chip shops? Where are the Morris dancers? And that's because people don't think like that, do they? So no, the English countryside is not racist. I'll see you in the next one.